Here's a simple little colour wheel that I've created. As my red primary, I've used Winsor & Newton Alizarin Crimson, which has got a bit of a blue bias. You'll as you work with colours, you will realise that there's no absolutely true primary red. The reds have all got either a slight blue bias or they've got a slight yellow bias. Likewise, for the yellows, I've used Winsor & Newton Winsor Yellow here, which has got rather a greenish bias. And other yellows that you might get, for instance, cadmium yellow you might use in your colour wheel, has got a definite orange bias. And again with the blues especially, there isn't a true blue. I've used Winsor & Newton Ultramarine, which has got a bit of a bias onto the red side. So here's my blue primary, my yellow primary, my red primary. Mixing the red primary and the blue primary together gives us the purple secondary, which is opposite on the colour wheel to the yellow primary. Yes? Mixing the blue primary and the yellow primary together, we get green, the secondary colour, which is opposite on the colour wheel to the red primary, and mixing the yellow primary and the red primary together gives us the orange secondary, which in turn is complementary or opposite to the blue primary. And I just want you to see that it's very obvious where the warm colours are and where the blue, where the cool colours are. The cools are centred on the blue primary, and the warms are centred on the orange secondary. Okay? So as any colour comes around to in this direction on the wheel, it is warming. And as soon as it starts going around to the blue on this side, it's starting to cool. So there's this tremendous movement from cool to warm as you go around the wheel. And as we move away from the orange, all the colours, they're still warm, but they're cooling and cooling and cooling until they get to the blue, and then they start warming and warming and warming again until they get to the orange, and then once again they're cooling. In between each primary and each secondary colour are the intermediate colours. So here we have a reddish purple. And of course there are hundreds of different colours in between here. If we take our purple and our red and we mix little samples along the paper, each time adding a minute dab of red to the sample, we will get all sorts of grade. There can be hundreds of colours in there, subtly moving between the purple secondary and the red primary. And this goes for all the intermediate colours. These are all intermediate or analogous colours. Here we have a colour in between Winsor Yellow and our green secondary. Can be divided up into many different intermediate or analogous colours. So when colours are next to each other on the wheel, we call them analogous. When they're opposite on the colour wheel, they are complementary.